We're live. Right. Good evening from the a really gorgeous nightfall, really boiling UK. Um, People have issues when it comes to anxiety, due to obviously this lockdown. So I thought I need to get in touch with somebody who really knows about anxiety. So I reached out to my good friend Jeremy Walker, who I'm honoured to be joining by tonight. Um, he is he owns the Inspire Hypnotherapy Clinic in Brisbane. He also assists people with the addiction, anxiety, and sleep-related issues, also known as insomnia. He enjoys nothing more than seeing others make a positive choice to their lives. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me on, Adam.
You're welcome. Yeah, I thought we'll get started with because obviously you're basically a mental health speaker, in a way where you help people. You're like the go-to person if people's got a problem. But what I want to know is, what was your life like before you did all these brilliant stuff?
Yeah, so I think growing up, I always felt like I was on edge. I'm going to be kind of under attack, maybe by judgment, or there's something kind of wrong with me. It was the way I'd grown up. So I would have spent a lot of mental energy controlling how everyone saw me, making sure I wasn't seen as weak, making sure people saw me in just the right way, so that I'd be kind of comfortable to be, as much of me as I could be. This ended up leading to chronic fatigue and did have daily anxiety, gut problems, and this sort of thing. So it was kind of this case of not really feeling comfortable and free just to express who I was and be who I am.
Yeah, I can totally sympathise with that because I was bullied all my life throughout school, throughout nursery, even college, because of my disability, which is dyspraxia. And obviously, for people that don't know what dyspraxia is, it is a mental and physical disability which can affect a nation. The abuse suffered, it started at age 3, where I was punched in the face because I was unable to ride a bike. And since then, I was unable to adapt to life. So, in all honesty, my life has only just recently just started, and I'm 29 years old, due to the trauma I suffered. So, obviously, yeah, I suffer with insomnia as well, and it's just a matter of getting it under control.
Yeah, and you've touched on something really important there, which is safety. If there's stress going on, if there's anxiety going on, and there's sleep problems, the number one thing we check is, is it safe to just be me? Is it safe to go to sleep? Is there anything where protection needs to be taken care of, whether that be physically, mentally? So I guess that number one thing is to always make sure we're safe, in our home, workplace, that sort of thing. And then we actually feel like, okay, I've got a foundation to start to improve life and go for some of the things we really want to have in life.
Absolutely, because like if you asked me, say what 2, maybe even 3 years ago, let's start meditation, let's get this anxiety under control, let's sort this sleep problem out, I would have just laughed because I won't have a clue what exactly you're talking about. But I do actually recommend meditation for people who are living with anxiety, because I know anxiety is at its highest rate during this lockdown, and sleep problems. I know a lot of people having these developing insomnia due to because they can't see family, they can't see friends, they don't know what's happening, for example, tomorrow. So it's up to the likes of me and you to actually help them through these dark times.
Yeah, and I thought I'd make a distinction between stress and anxiety. We could say that stress is the pressure exerted on us by life. It could be, okay, there's a financial problem, that could be a stress, health problem, that could be a stress. But anxiety is a bit different. Anxiety is the little voice or even the little monster in our head saying something bad is going to happen, or there's something wrong with me, or even a combination of both. So anxiety is like, everything is going to be terrible, everything is going to be bad, and you're actually a bad person. So with stress, we actually go ahead and try and solve the problem. So if there's a financial issue, we just see if we can work on finances as best we can, for example. But with anxiety, we really need to challenge the validity of those thoughts. Just because anxiety is telling me everything is going to hell, is that actually true at all? Is there someone I can still contribute to? Can I be of service to someone? Can I start actually focusing on self-care during this lockdown period, which is maybe something that hadn't been taken care of for 10, 20 or 30 years, an opportunity to go, wow, I don't even have a relationship with my breath. It was really interesting. I met someone just yesterday via phone call as well. Said she loves the feeling of just breathing in fresh air and actually gets the real relaxation and an energized feeling from it. So something that a breathing process can do, I know you mentioned meditation, is it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is when we feel that feeling of relief, that actual release of just, oh, okay, I'm good. And that can take 20 or 30 minutes to activate. Whereas if someone is busy, watching TV, on phones, all these sorts of things, we don't get into that feeling of, okay, I'm good. So doing that at least once a day, via meditation can be really valuable.
Yeah. So obviously during this pandemic, because I know it has an effect massively on people's mental health. What would you recommend for people who have developed not anxiety in general, but social anxiety?
So can I check when you say social anxiety, like sort of fear of getting back out into the world?
Yeah, something like that,
Okay, I think managing whatever the risk is. So if someone was in a role that actually involves being in a lot of close proximity to people and there's a genuine risk of catching the virus and this sort of thing, managing that as best you can, or even making that choice to say, well, are there other options? Do I need to go to this job? Am I wearing the proper equipment? Am I following the rules? Am I speaking up if someone else isn't following the rules? And really, I guess, taking that approach of doing everything you can. I did write an article about COVID-19 when things first started getting heated up around the end of March. And always important to manage whatever your risk is. So if the risk is to health, doing what you can there. If the risk is to finances, asking for help would be a big one. But managing whatever that actual risk is, rather than it being like I'm anxious about everything, almost writing it down. Okay, anxious about getting sick, anxious about maybe the effect on others. And then if it's only 2 or 3 things, you can work with that. So I guess isolating what the problem actually is can be the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know when the UK went into lockdown for the very first time I know it says March, but it was really more into lockdown in first week of April, and I struggled. I admit I struggled, and I didn't know what to do. But then I've had people reaching out to me, offering me stuff. And even though government across the world is saying keep social distancing, keep social distancing. I've not gone against the guidelines when I say I have not social distance. I feel more social connected with social media like Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn. I feel a lot more social connected. And these Zoom discussions, you can have one-on-one or you can have a group. I remember when just a couple of weeks ago, I was on a Zoom chat and there was like 6, 7 of us. And we was all in the same boat. And I felt so alive, just talking, just getting everything out on the open to a complete stranger. And this is what I recommend is speaking out because I kept it to myself. I kept it from the world that I was being abused for 21 years. And the best thing I ever did was just talk, tell somebody.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you've found a way to give back to others, using it as an opportunity,
Yeah.
finding the blessing in it, and finding something that genuinely makes you come alive. I know my first 6 weeks here, almost no other interaction, but I made sure there was at least one person a day or a few days that I was serving. So rather than it being I'm just going to hit the drugs, hit the cigarettes, hit the booze, which doesn't really provide that satisfaction to the soul and to the heart.
No.
Ask, what love can I give to others and give to myself? And that's a totally different answer to how can I just survive this? How can I give I think is far more powerful.
Yeah, because I know a few people has been suffering because of this. For example, my partner, obviously she doesn't have mental health issues. She doesn't. And I know I'm not a professional to diagnose her, but she has been showing signs of social anxiety and depression. So, and she was in a dark place not long ago. But I went up to her and I was going to say these two things to her. First one is, if you can keep repeating, and I always recommend these. If people are suffering, say this quote to yourself. If I can survive the war that I battle with myself, I can survive anything. That's the first quote. The second one, and it's not a quote, it's basically saying, you're in a dark hole, you're in this dark tunnel, okay? I can't do it for you. I can talk to you, I can guide you, but at the end of a tunnel, there is always light. We're here waiting at this light, but what you have to do is try and do it yourself because we can't do it for you. What would you say about them?
Yeah, I think it always does come within when the transformation happens. It's not usually someone saying you're healed. It's an experience. It's like, okay, I am an okay person, or things are going to be okay, or there is a way I can still contribute. Yeah, I think when that really hits home and hits the mind, it's different. It's not, oh my God, everything is terrible. It's there's something I can do. This is weird. there was hope there now. Yeah.
Absolutely, because I know with mental health in general, because it's a massive stigma these days, and in my opinion, I don't believe the government are doing enough to do it, to sort it out. I don't. And I know people, because of this COVID, they're refusing to go to the hospital for help. I don't know what to think about that when it comes to mental health, whether to go to the hospital or not. But what I would advise is just talk to somebody. Like the NHS didn't work for me, fobbed off, even though they didn't think I was unstable enough when I arrived at the hospital and there's a seatbelt wrapped around my neck. They still discharged me. But I found another coping mechanism, another technique, and that is to talk to people who do understand mental health. And ever since I've done that, I don't feel judged. I don't feel bullied.
Well, that's a great point. Is find those that are able to receive what you're saying. It might be in some cases for people, their partner is just totally not understanding, or their doctor and totally not understanding, or their boss at work totally doesn't get it, and there's disrespect there. But there are people that can hear that. So I'd say, yeah, share that story, and I guess the important things with those that can actually support, because it's kind of something I've thought about for a long period of time is, if I'm going to trust someone, I should trust that they're going to be who they are, not who I want them to be. So if someone was talking about, say, trusting a government, I would say, well, I'm going to trust that they're going to do what they've always done, because that's who they are. But if I expect them to be different than that, I may be setting myself up for disappointment, rather than just focusing on, hey, this is what they're doing, and maybe I should focus on what I can do within that. But yeah, finding those people you can trust to support, but not expecting those that keep disrespecting are going to get better. They might, but we don't want to be waiting around for that. We want to think, okay, who are those good people that I can rely on, those connections online and proper friends and family, because there's always someone that'll be there as a support.
Absolutely. Like, if people want to turn to medication does work. It only works to a certain degree. I grew up obsessed and addicted to medication. I was going to the GP every single month for medication, back to back. And on one time, I went to the GP and asked him for some sleeping tablets, some antidepressants. He denied me them because he believed it would make my mental health worse. Now, ever since that happened, I have now gone 2.5 years without a single tablet crossing my mouth, because I found other coping mechanisms, and people need to look at that, because when they're down, we all get down. Fair enough, it's understandable, but there are other options out there other than medication. There is.
Yeah, I totally hear that. Whether it be a medication,
and listen to music.
Sorry, it did drop out there for a second.
Yeah, obviously when I put the headphones. Are we back? Are we back?
Yep, we're back. But yeah, I totally hear that. If someone was only relying on medications for mental health, probably not so great. But if they have got the things that they love, their music or their people or their breathing technique that can center the body so well, or for me, being in nature, the first couple of weeks of lockdown, I think I went out six times in 2 weeks to get to a rainforest, beach, kind of go to my place that makes me feel centered and grounded. Might be difficult depending if you live in a city and this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that there's something, and like you mentioned, for those who haven't tried meditation, trying it out for the first time, why not? There's plenty of time at the moment, a good opportunity to get in touch with it and see if it works.
Yeah, because obviously, you mentioned time there, and that's very crucial in these time. Because people are always going to make these excuses where they say, "Oh, I don't have time. I've got the kids, and I've got clean up to do, and all that." I agree with you. I totally do. But now I have learned that saying, "Oh, I can't do something because of the kids. I can't do something because there's cleaning to do." We always have time, and if you don't have time, make time. I've now, because I am a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. I'm always doing things like this. But I have found the time, even though me and my partner, we're raising an autistic son and a daughter that is showing signs of autism herself. I know this homeschool. I have found a time out of my busy schedule for 10 minutes just to be on my own and meditate. Just 10 minutes. That's all it is. And when you do that for the very first time, you'll open your eyes and you'll be a completely different person. I was, and I bet Jeremy was.
Yeah, I use the doctor appointment rule for self-care. So I'm like, if I'm gonna make sure I've cooked myself a nice meal and eat that, or do a meditation, it's like a doctor appointment. I'm not canceling, so I can't be disrupted. It's something I've booked into the diary. So I kind of use that as a nice trick, whether it be 10 minutes or an hour a day. It's like it's in the diary. It's an appointment. Nope, I'm attending my self-care appointment. It can be a nice way to think of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, obviously, just because of that, yeah, I thought would be the main last advice for somebody who is living with anxiety or even just recognizing anxiety for the very first time. What would you advise them to do?
Yeah, I guess the first thing would be is if that's to the degree where it's causing, yeah, sleeplessness, um, not being able to function, and it feels like it is getting completely overwhelming. The number one would be to reach out for some kind of help. Yeah, find a professional who knows what they're talking about, who can get you that real assistance, especially if it's been going on for a longer period of time. There are things that can help and make it better. And alongside that, we started to mention that before around breathing techniques and meditation. So alongside getting help, eating well, drinking 2 liters of water a day, getting enough rest, exercise where possible. These don't solve all problems immediately, but it starts to get the body and mind functioning in a way where it starts to work better. Hormones can balance out. I've met people who just said, "Oh, started exercising again, and all of a sudden, I don't have depression." It's like, "Oh, I forgot to be depressed." It was really kind of interesting and a curious way he described it. It was like, "Oh, I forgot, I forgot to have that feeling." So yeah, having that self-care ritual again, whether it be 20 minutes or an hour a day, and absolutely reaching out for help.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Right. So what I'll do is I will end this broadcast now, as usual. I'm glad to meet you in person myself. After all the chats we've been having.
Sorry, the signal has dropped out a bit the last few seconds. Can you still hear me okay?
Uh,
Now it looks like I've lost you on my end. Yeah, if you can, awesome to chat. I think, yeah, you're a legend. Doing what you're doing, reaching out, helping people is amazing.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, we're just